And we are back for another live episode of the Kngdom. Drums is back. AC is back. Our pals in the chat, we haven't really heard from yet, but probably back. And Drums, I know you've been working on this all week, but we want to hear the best what is up of your life. You ready?
Let's go.
We'll see you in 30.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Kngdom. As always, my name is Drums. I'm joined by the brothers behind Kngdom, Regan and Jordan Headley, and also joining us for a very special episode, our 100th episode, live on the Kngdom, our buddy Aaron Cockerill. How's it going, AC? How you doing, buddy?
Great intro. I'm good. Happy to be back and chat with you guys and chat some golf.
Have you ever done a live episode before?
No, I'm nervous. I see the live.
I know. It is a little nerve-wracking, but the good thing is there's not many people that watch the show, so even if you say something stupid, it's probably okay.
Yeah, we used to get nervous too till we realized we only have about 10 faithful, so they know how dumb we are, so we can basically say whatever the hell we want now and get away with it.
Okay, well, we're going to skip our usual intros tonight because the main focus is our buddy AC here tonight. We do have some questions in the chat going on. Because it is a live episode tonight, we're going to try not to get too distracted with the chat. So if you do have any questions for Aaron, just throw them in the chat, and we're going to be kind of grouping them all together for the end of the episode, and we're going to kind of run them by AC then. We're going to try not to go too long tonight. AC's got a tight turnaround. He's going to be back on the road tomorrow, heading out of Manitoba. So let's start with that, I guess, AC. Maybe just tell us a bit about the current situation, and then we'll talk about kind of what's been going on this year, some highlights, and we'll go from there. But you mentioned that you had a bit of a day today and got some plans for tomorrow.
Yeah, as I was telling you guys before, I thought my card was locked up and safe, and today the way the leaderboard shook out was not exactly ideal, and there's a lot of guys who jumped me and made the cutoff number 117 a little bit closer than I thought it would be. My status didn't get me into this week anyways, but I'm actually the last man in the field now for next week, and I found out today at 1:00. So you know, with the -2 degree weather we've been having the last week, I'm not exactly sharp, but, you know, we're going to go over there and play. I had an event this year where I was shoveling snow the week before and played well. So it can be done. And yeah, we're going to Spain tomorrow, me and my wife. It's going to be a good trip.
It's a heck of a difference. Winnipeg to Spain pretty quick. That'll be good.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. It's going to be fun. It's supposed to be perfect weather. It's on Mallorca. It's like a little island just off the east coast of Spain there, and wife's coming, so it'll be a fun trip.
Nice.
So have you been playing at all then the last couple of weeks since you've been back?
Yeah, I played on Monday and Tuesday when it was decent out, and then I went to St. Charles and hit balls today. They just have like well, you guys have been there, like those on the side of the range there, like the garage, like with the doors that roll up so you can just hit it outside. But it was like -2 and the wind was kind of pumping in, so it was a little chilly, but I was able to see it fly. And yeah, I got a bit of a home setup here as well, so I've been able to practice indoors and try and stay sharp a little bit. So this will probably be the last one of the season. There'll be a bit of a break.
So when is the cutoff for the cards then? Because I did see a video on Twitter today with a guy pretty emotional. He earned his tour card for next year. So the cutoff's got to be soon then?
Yeah, so we have 2 regular season tournaments left, Mallorca and Portugal. And just as the PGA Tour does like a top 125, it's a top 110, but they do guys who are like in addition that they just lower the number basically. So like I still don't even understand it. I've read multiple things on it. It's like if you haven't played a certain number of events, but you're a certain world ranking, they keep you on the list kind of thing. Like say Will Morris or like Morikawa. They keep them on the list. So I think there's like 7 of those guys. So it's 117 is our cutoff right now. And I'm 110, like 45, 50 points, like ahead of the line.
Clear. Yeah.
So a good week next week would be useful. If not, we're going to be sweating it out the last week.
So you'll play that. Are you qualified into the next tournament in Portugal?
No, my status won't get me in. It's a political thing that some guys get fired up about because they'll give invites to like a Spanish or Portuguese player because they're from that country. They can kind of give out local invites, like how I got an invite for the Canadian Open.
Right.
But just like when it comes at the end of the year and guys are like fighting for certain
Scrambling.
spots, it's a magnified kind of thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I guess just like touching on 2022, it's obviously been your most successful year, most money earned by a long shot. Like, was it one thing that clicked this year, or just all the hard work you put in over the years, finally everything just came together?
Yeah, I've been putting awesome. I think I was explaining the aim point to you guys last time when I had just started doing it, and I think I was like #1 strokes gained putting this year. If I could just get the ball on the green and a few less shots, we'll be really laughing. But I mean, I've gotten a bit longer off the tee, and I putted really well, and just like I think I made the most of a couple good weeks. Like most of my money came in 2 tournaments, right? Like I had a second, third, which is. It's frustrating as a golfer to have good tournaments like that and miss a lot of cuts. Like you'd almost rather be more consistent, but honestly, you're better off to do what I did as opposed to finishing 25th every week. Like you probably are playing solid, but you're better off to just have a few like big chunks.
It also gives you that validation that I can be here. I can be at the top of the leaderboard, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you hang around there for 4 days and you kind of have a chance to win. And next time you're in that situation, you're just a bit more comfortable. And, yeah, it's been kind of a weird year. I had a really good start, and I've played like shit recently, but I don't know. That's kind of how golf goes, I guess, right?
Yeah, last time you were talking to us, you were explaining the new putting techniques, and so last year you were ranked 138th, and this year you're first currently.
Wow.
For strokes gained and GERS, green regulations.
Okay, big difference. It's working.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Going to keep at
it. You chalk it up to that technique, or was there anything else that helped? Because if it's that technique, I think there's going to be some people watching this who might want to revisit last episode we did with you and learn that. Because
I think it's probably some of that, and a lot of it. My coach Derek was having me do a lot of speed drills this year. So every time I get to a new course, I do this same weird drill. It takes me like half an hour, and I'm basically just like lagging putts past each other, trying to get you set up from like 5 to 30 feet kind of thing. And you're just trying to putt, say 5 balls within the first bucket, 4 balls within the next bucket. And you're just lagging them all like past each other and kind of do it random at the end. And so like, I feel like every week when I do that on Tuesday or Wednesday, I have a pretty good feel for the speed of the greens by the time the tournament starts. And it's just improved, instead of 3 putting sometimes from 50 feet, you're 2 putting those. And if you have a 15-footer with good pace, maybe it catches the hole and 360s in. And I guess my speed has maybe been better. But yeah, some of that and some of the like the aim point stuff I was kind of talking about last time.
Yeah, it has to be a combination of both because speed would be a big thing. But if you're gaining that many strokes with the putter, some got to be going in. So that strategy must be doing a little bit of damage.
Yeah, and Di was saying like most good players are starting the ball pretty much online. I mean, a 5-footer like. If you're aiming right edge, most guys are pretty much starting it there. So if you're kind of combining good speed, then you should have good results.
Yeah, you had some crazy rounds this year, hey? Like,
yeah,
shit, tracking a few of them. Oh my god, that's insane. Like, I think it was the King Cup, right? So it would have been a Friday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
I think you were like 7 under on the front.
Yeah.
Yes, it was because you were more focused on that than our golf.
I was trying to do the registrations to the tournament, and I was just like losing my marbles tracking it. Not even paying attention to our own tournament.
That's the worst. Whenever I have buddies playing and I'm not playing too, I find myself on the app too, just kind of like looking through the shot by shot. It's just an addiction.
It sucks to try to track on that still.
Well, and the time zone too, or the time difference is crazy too in some spots.
Yeah, at least it has the like the shot by shot, but Christ, sometimes it still takes forever.
Another episode, another Reggie tearing apart the DP app.
No, it is. It's gotten better. They have improved for sure, but it's still frustrating.
So, as mentioned here, we're going to try to get everybody's questions in at the end of the show, or as much as we can, anyways, for time purposes. So we're going to try to ignore those throughout the day. But this comment was pretty good from our buddy Ches. He said if he could caddy for AC, they would be AC/DC. So that's pretty good. Good stuff there, as usual, from Ches. Kenny's here in the chat. Aaron, you had quite a season, as we discussed. We want you to do a quick ranking here of your highlights, 1, 2, 3 from the year. So we got the hole-in-ones, plural.
Where's the fucking car?
I'm assuming the scorecard is coming right after this one here.
You can tie those into the same one because that was a low light for sure. But then the T2 finish, and then getting into the Dunhill playing St. Andrews.
And then the PGA Tour events.
Right. I thought these might be top 3, though, but if you want to sub one in, go for it.
No, just go top 4.
Top 4.
What am my just like my highlights throughout the year?
Yeah, just like, I guess, meaning to you, and what was the best feeling from those, and obviously the hole-in-one that didn't count wasn't
so probably none of them. Probably the T3 in Spain, where I was leading through 3 rounds and I birdied the first 3 holes on Sunday, and I was leading and like in the mix the whole day. Like that was just the most fun, like being like, that's what you practice for, right? And it's fucking hard to get in those positions, and like coming out and like playing aggressive and just like playing well that day was very satisfying. And like not getting the job done was a bit of, it kind of sucked, but the guy shot 62 on Sunday. It's hard to win.
Yeah, he went crazy on Sunday.
Yeah. So, I held my own and that was a fun week. 2, probably Canadian Open, just like having buddies come out there and like playing on like a bigger stage, and kind of a lot of the big dogs were there. And again, I played okay. I didn't play great on Saturday, but like on, just saying that, like I was playing behind Justin Thomas on Saturday, and it was sold out. All my buddies were saying they sold out a beer on Saturday. Like it was out there. And he was shooting like 62 or something ridiculous on the Saturday. And I was playing behind him, and like some of the holes looking down, it was like 10 rows deep on both sides with people. Like it was super fun to just like be in the arena type thing. Right. I'll put the hole-in-one number 3 for the life insurance / cash payout, which was nice. And then for fun, we'll say DQ, not signing the scorecard, number 4. Full circle.
That was a great.
How does that happen?
The scorecard?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's got to be a bit of a story to it.
So I got the hole-in-one the week before in Switzerland. It was on the Thursday. Next week was in Denmark, and it was funny because the 16th hole there, it's like 100 yards, and there's a little bowl in the front. So like if you are going to get a hole-in-one on tour, like that's probably the spot in the pin, because you can kind of hit it within like a, pretty big circle, and it'll just kind of funnel in. And I was playing the practice round with one of my buddies, and he's like, if there's ever a time to get, 2 in 2 weeks, like this is definitely it. And so he was paired behind me on Thursday, and there's quite a few people around that hole. And so I dunk it, and it's super loud. And he was joking, saying right away after he knew it was me. And so, yeah, I'd gotten 2 hole-in-ones in 7 days. And then I proceeded to make an 8 snowman on the next hole. And then I bogeyed the last hole. The last hole is really tough there. So my mind is just like frazzled. And so we come into the scoring area, and like I was totally like fine once I get in there, and I'm kind of going through everything, and like I signed my partner's card, and the girl typing the scores in, there's like a monitor in front of her, so I can just like see her putting my scores in. So I see them all, they're all correct. But she was asking me like for their records, like what club I hit, how far the hole was playing, and like everything. And I was chatting with the other guys, and like normally she would kind of check the scores, and I just forgot to sign my scorecard. And when I saw her put it in on the monitor, I was like, oh, okay, like that's good, like all good. And I left, and I was like 20 feet around the corner, and they basically came back and got me and said I had to go back in and chatted with them, and I was disqualified because I didn't sign my card.
Oh, brutal.
It was, if there's any consolation to it, I didn't shoot 65 or anything the first round. I shot like 2 over. It was the first round, like, and lesson learned, I guess. But like, I even said to them, like, it's kind of a dumb rule. It's my fault. I should have signed it, certainly. But like, my always analogy now is like, if the Jets win 3-2, like, does Wheeler have to go over and sign the game sheet? Otherwise, like, It doesn't count.
Or it doesn't count.
Yeah. Like, so apparently next year they're actually changing the rule. I think it's a 1-stroke penalty.
Well, obviously you got your own rule now.
Well, I don't know if that. I think that was already predetermined, but lesson learned, and funny story for down the line. But what I was most concerned about was if there was a hole-in-one prize on the hole. And if I was not going to get the prize because I didn't sign my card, but there actually didn't happen to be like a prize on that hole. Because the week before I got a good cash payout, and I was like, fuck, if it was something like that.
No kidding.
Just miss out on $100,000 for forgetting to sign your name.
Yeah.
Woo.
Jesus.
That is one of those rules in golf, though. I think there's probably a few of them you could list on your hand of things that just don't make a whole lot of sense. And it's sad because some of those rules have actually led to, the Live Tour, essentially, just like the PGA and tours like that refusing to kind of step out of their old ways. And there's people who are, coming forward and saying, we don't need to have these rules to be a league. We can just do our own thing and have things that make sense. And I think one of those, the hole-in-one thing or the scorecard is just stupid. Like, why couldn't somebody just say, hey, you forgot to sign your scorecard, come and do it?
Yeah. Once they told me once you have 2 feet out of the scoring area, that's a rule.
What?
So yeah, like stuff like that. And another one that drives me nuts is how we have to wear pants. It's kind of related, but not really. But like when it's like 35 and we have to wear pants because of like tradition, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Got some
heavy
swaz.
Yeah. Get the gold bond out after the round.
Yeah.
So it was
some good gitch.
the Dunhill didn't make the rankings there, but we talked about it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and I guess maybe just tell us what the tournament is, because we know it's a 3 different venue event, but maybe just give us a quick breakdown, maybe the coolest experience there. And we also want to know how the sponsor's exemption work, because that's what got you into the tournament. And we were just wondering, like, do they just kind of search guys who have been playing well, or how do they seek you out, and what's the kind of process there on it?
So a lot of them, it'll be like guys' management companies, if they have connections or they know the tournament promoters. It's kind of like a buddy system, get your guy in kind of thing. But with that one, there's 100. It was a bigger field, but there's guys coming from the Sunshine Tour and like the Asian Tour or Australasian or whatever. And I think they were just taking guys who were pretty high on the money list who weren't otherwise in. And that was kind of me. So yeah, I had emailed it back and forth a little bit with the promoter, and I ended up getting in on the Saturday afternoon the week before. But the tournament itself it's got to be one of the coolest tournaments in the world. I mean, it's like the same idea as Pebble Beach, right? Like they play 3 different golf courses. So you play a different one from Thursday to Saturday. They do the cut, and then the final 20 teams and like 60 pros or something played St. Andrews on Sunday. So yeah, Carnoustie, St. Andrews, Kings Barnes, like so cool. It's like and the AM partners are all like pretty like big wigs. Like they sent us an amateur like bio, and it's like, this guy owns this company, this guy started Whoop, this is the Bloomberg, like it's nuts. So it's really cool. You get to meet some cool people and play with some really like influential people in the business world, basically. But yeah, the golf courses are just awesome. I had never really played like true links golf before that. And just like some of the shots you can hit, like in practice rounds, I was ripping putters from like 70 yards, like just over the moguls, and like you can chip with 5-iron from anywhere. And like, obviously the conditions we played on Friday were hilarious. Like the pins were 45 degrees. It was hammering rain. I was getting home wringing out my underwear. Like it was brutal. so it's funny looking back now. Like it was such a fun week, and it's got to be one of the coolest golf tournaments in the world, I would think.
So no cuts at that one, or is it just 54 and then cut, and then everybody plays Sunday?
Yeah, you would play 3 rounds, and then the top 60 pros or whatever there is a cut play St. Andrews, and I think I missed by like 1 or 2 there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you had a hot Thursday.
Yeah, I played well on Thursday and Saturday when the weather was like normal. I played pretty good, but I just got ejected on Friday. It was like it was so brutal. Like if it was a normal tournament, we didn't have all the golf courses and all the driving and everything, like I know we wouldn't have been playing, but they just wanted to get everyone around and just like stay on schedule kind of thing. Right. Like if you were putting 4-footers, like feet this wide apart, just like head down, praying to God you hit the hole, like because it was so windy and so rain's hammering down off your toque, and plus it was like 4 degrees, so it was freezing.
It was impressive though. Like I don't think you made a double that day, did you?
No, just 9
bogees. Yeah,
I don't know if that's impressive or not.
Well, it is for sure. I would say
around. I was like, that actually wasn't like horrible. Like it was so bad. Like even like I had 2 rain gloves on and just going like this, like water would just like slam down out of your gloves.
What was your amateur up to in that weather?
Oh, he would tee off, hit it in the gorse, and just walk to the next tee. he did not finish more than 2 holes that day, and the poor guy, he's from India, so he's telling me he's never been in like less than 25 degrees Celsius. He was
he's dying.
So cold. I felt so bad. Our team score wasn't very good that day.
No, that's unreal. 2 holes. That's a tough way to play St. Andrews for him.
Oh, that was St. Andrews where that was at.
Yeah,
that's tough for sure.
I just remember looking at the scorecard and I was like, "Holy shit, 9 over!" But then I like started.
Everybody was like that though, right?
And I started searching around on Twitter and like just all the tweets going out about how hard St. Andrews was playing that day. It was like
was probably like average was probably like 5-6 over. Like I played probably slightly below average, but like it wasn't
still. Yeah.
On the 12th hole in the practice round, it was downwind and I drove it over the green on a par 4. It was like probably hit it 370. And then on the tournament day, it was the other way. And I flushed driver and I hit it like 190, maybe 200 yards. So I still had like 170 versus the practice day I was over the green. So like when I was playing the practice round, and my caddy Dave, he actually caddied at St. Andrews for 2 years. And so like when I was playing the practice round, I was kind of looking and being like, what is this bunker even doing here? Like it's not even in play, right? And he kind of like laughed and just said like, I can wait till the wind switches. And then like that bunker was in play and just like it played so different. So I'd love to go back next year and play it again, hopefully more normal conditions, and just try and appreciate the golf course a little bit more, because like it was just wild.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a nightmare to try to organize to begin with, but if you're postponing tee times and stuff like that, that would just be a mess.
Just at one course, like was it raining like that at the other courses?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, they're all within 6-7 miles of each other.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I had no clue they were all that close. Like, I didn't even know that they were
like a little
remotely that close.
And St. Andrews and Kingsbarns are on the one side and Carnousties are on the other side. But I would think it was probably equally as shitty everywhere.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize St. Andrews and Carnoustie were that close either.
I didn't know that either. You said that was the first kind of links golf you played. I thought I had a definition of links golf, but I would have assumed that you would have played some of that in the past. But what's like your definition of true links course?
Probably like the turf and the way that it plays. Like it was still pretty firm. And they always say like straight out and straight back. But I mean that like, I don't know. I guess I've played Cabot. You guys have been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's pretty close. I've played a place in Ireland, Portmarnock, but that wasn't in a tournament. That was proper links. But I would say just like the firmness of the turf and the way that you can hit shots around the greens and like the brutal pot bunkers, like just avoiding pot bunkers at all costs off the tee was like our goal that week. Like some of them, like, and when you're playing with the AMs, like you see some stuff that you don't normally see, and like seeing those guys get in there, like they couldn't get out on some of them. Like, and if it goes up against the lip, like you can't even then go backwards and like you can't get a stance to go sideways, and they can't go up. So like they're just out of the hole basically.
do they affect your guys' game at all?
Most of them are pretty good. Like they've played in it before. It's one score per team. So like if your partner is making a 10, like he just picks it up, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, some of them were actually pretty decent players. One of my buddies was playing with the guy who started Whoop, and he said he was like a 4 handicap and was just driving the shit out of the ball. Like, so there was some good players there too.
Good.
Well, what do we got now here, fellas? Should we talk about the travel stuff?
Yeah, I would say so.
So last time we talked on the show here, we kind of just mentioned how cool it was that, instead of just the PGA, we were kind of touring around America. You got to experience Europe and a bunch of different countries too, and continents, right? So this year, I guess specifically, what was the coolest place you've visited, or coolest thing you did, learned, or experienced while traveling this year, and where was it?
I mean, now this is my 3rd or 4th year, I think, on tour. So I've actually gotten to go to, like, I've pretty much been to all these places.
Right.
Switzerland is always up there. And then where we go in South Africa in December is always up there. So, I mean, Switzerland, it'd be like playing in Banff or Canmore or something. And the town is super cool. It's just right on the side of a mountain, cool little town, awesome golf course. Everything is stupidly expensive there, though.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there, but it's like one of the most expensive places, I think, to go to.
At the golf course the first time, I got like a burger and fries, and it was like 60 Canadian dollars or something like
what?
that. So might be going to the grocery store later. And then the place we're going in South Africa, the one that's like on the game park, that's right before Christmas this year. That's my favorite place. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I actually went anywhere that was totally new this year. Playing in the Dunhill was different, but I'd been there before. So yeah, I'm starting to get to know the golf courses and feel more comfortable with the travel, and it's nice to have the missus coming next week. And yeah, I mean, I'm just getting more used to it.
Yeah. Now that you've been there before and like don't need to spend as much time maybe preparing golf wise, are you able to do a little bit more touring or not really?
Yeah, I try to. And especially like with COVID, we couldn't do anything, but now it's like totally open again. We can do whatever.
Right.
So yeah, we try and a couple days a week take in wherever you are and experience whatever there is that week. And usually the tour will give us recommendations or have things running that we can participate in, kind of thing. So try and make the most of those and enjoy it while we're there.
Sure.
You probably have a few more buddies now than you had the first couple of years, hey?
Yeah.
Probably.
I kind of, my practice round groups are usually with the same guys and go out for dinner with kind of the same core guys as well. But yeah, I know almost everyone out there now. Like it's just a traveling circus, right? There's like just over maybe 200 guys who have status. So each week out of the just over the 200, you see the 150 that are in the field that week, and you're pretty friendly with everyone, to be honest. There's not many, like, honestly, a lot of the guys are good guys and you get along with everyone. There's maybe a couple meatheads, but other than that, it's pretty good.
We've been putting
drop names.
When we're leading up to the podcast here, we're still using the line that you're the only Canadian playing on the DP Tour. Is that still the case?
As far as I know, yeah, this year. I haven't been paying attention with the Q school this year. I know I saw a tweet that there was like 30 or 40 Canadians signed up to go and play in the Q school.
Oh, nice.
I was just checking on one of them where one of my good buddies was playing in France and he didn't get through. But the final stage will be coming up soon. So it depends if anyone gets through, but I haven't really been paying attention other than just that one site there where my buddy was playing.
Canadians had a good representation at the President's Cup there, although 0 points on the board. It was pretty nice to see a couple Canadians there playing.
Yeah, I was watching. That was awesome. I know both those guys a little bit, and like that's got to be such a different animal and beast and atmosphere and stage. And I was on one of the days, it looked like Pendy was making a ton of birdies and playing really well. He just kind of got shafted in the match. Like that's just how it goes.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if you guys watched a lot of it or not, but
yeah, We did.
All of it.
Yeah, they gave
he's still super young, isn't he?
Pendy, I want to say I think they're both right around my age.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, are they? I thought he was
Taylor had a bit of like injury stuff kind of happen. Like he's kind of dealt with it. He just swings the club so goddamn hard that I think he like broke a rib earlier this year just from literally how fast he was a club. Yeah.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he was out for like 4 months or something, and he still finished top 60.
Oh, that's what his injury was.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he had a broken rib.
We got yeah, that's wild. We got Black Wheat beer tonight. Although it's not Trans Canada Brewing Company.
I don't know either. This is my go-to.
Sam Adams. Nice.
Sam Adams.
Wicked easy. What do you got? Red Stripe.
Cheers, guys.
Little Red Stripe. Jamaican beer.
Cheers to everybody in the chat. Sorry, we're not paying too close attention to you here. We're going to get into a little bit more travel stuff in a sec, but have you played Bandon, Aaron?
No, I'm not a good person to answer that. I've heard it's pretty legit. I mean, I haven't played it myself. Have you guys been down there?
No. Like Links to me, what I thought Links was like, you usually think of like no bush, obviously. You think of like the fescue, but I thought it had to be kind of right on the ocean.
Cliffside,
interference between that there. And I think that's the case in Bandon. So it probably would fall under that category.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it would be an accurate representation comparing it to, say, a St. Andrews or something.
I think North American wise, Bandon might be kind of the best links test or
option.
Yeah.
Cabot was pretty wild too, like the Cabot links.
Yeah, I only played the Cliffs course. I didn't play the links.
The links just seemed I mean, obviously it's a links course, so it should be windier, but man, it was just it was honestly a workout just walking that course. Do you remember that, Rigo?
Mm-hmm. Playing like shit too. Didn't even enjoy the course. just a chubby little bastard walking through Nova Scotia, hacking around the course, paying out of my ass to play it, and I just couldn't even enjoy it. It's tough. But Cliffs was a much more enjoyable experience.
Absolutely, it was. That was my top course for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of, I guess while we're on this golf travel subject and guys' golf trips and stuff like that, a couple things here. Do you have any absolute must items for traveling for golf wise or other just to have? And maybe it's just some travel advice for anybody who's packing up their clubs for a golf trip. What do you recommend? You've done a bit of it.
Well, now with the airports, Apple AirTags.
Oh yeah.
They lose your shit where it is.
Especially in Canada.
Yeah, we're going to Toronto tomorrow. So
oh boy,
fingers crossed.
So I'm a big foam roller guy, so I've always got my foam roller in the golf bag with me. Getting old now, hey, getting sore.
I've started to use those actually lately.
Oh, it's so good.
Worked pretty damn good.
And I got the one that does it like vibrates too. It's like a massage.
Oh boy,
money. No, not much other than that. Golf clubs and 2 pairs of golf shoes. I do it quick every time, and the foam roller. And I usually bring a couple different 60 degrees and an extra driver head because I'm scared they're going to snap it on the flight. But
it's a good idea.
Yeah, we're kind of spoiled with all like the trucks they have on tour and stuff every week. Like
each company has their own.
Yeah, and like I never have to bring golf balls or gloves because they always give them to you at the tournament, so it keeps the weight down, which is nice.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
that is nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they always have all the trucks set up there, so they'll kind of provide you with whatever you need. Really, I mean, I guess it depends on like who you're contracted with, but yeah, it's pretty fun. It's like kid and candy store type stuff if you're a golf nerd.
Yeah, they had that. They actually posted a cool video of that Herbert the other day. Kind of what he sees when he shows up. Yeah.
Okay.
What ball do you play?
So I actually have a contract with Titleist, so it's ball, shoe, glove, and I just use the new Pro V1, the one that spins more. Yes, like even like if you're into the real geeky stuff. So I was struggling. I don't spin the long irons quite enough. So I was asking them if they have something that spins more, and they gave me this ball. It's like a Titleist Pro V1 Star. So it's like it's something that's not like sold retail. It's just like on the tour trucks. And so they just gave it to me to test. And
nice.
Yeah, just little stuff like that is kind of cool. They can get you pretty dialed in. It's very helpful.
Is it the Pro V1 392? This refurbished?
Refurbished.
Been sitting in the lake for 2 years.
Yeah.
We played glow golf out here at Rossman Lake a couple times, and those things have the exact opposite of spin. They don't have any sort of grip on them at all. So although you can't spin them, they never stop running, it seems, on the fairway, which is kind of nice.
So it's good off the tee, but then not good into the greens.
Just hitting a rock.
And you can play at night too, which
is it pretty fun, the glow golf?
Oh my god,
it's so much fun. Have you ever tried?
I've never done it. No. How do you like? Obviously, the fairways aren't lit up or anything, right? Is it just the flag stick?
Yeah,
flag stick, and then we had all the carts had spotlights or lights all over them, decorated up. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I actually played in 2 this summer. First 2 I've ever played in. It was like unreal.
Do you not like lose your ball a bunch, or is it so lit up that it's pretty visible?
It's all par 3s, right? So.
Oh, okay.
It would be hard to play glow golf like a full course, and I don't know if those balls are meant to hit.
You're not supposed to. No, I think they would smash the driver head in if you hit them. That's kind of how hard they are.
Okay.
But yeah. What else do we want to talk about, fellas?
You got hooked up with a management company this year. Was the first year, right?
Yeah. 111. So it's Jeff Dykeman. He's from Toronto, and he used to be involved with the PGA of Canada. Good guy, which are sometimes hard to find in that industry. And I think he's going to do good things for me. He's already done a couple of things that are going to be in place for next year. And just a genuinely nice guy. He's actually has a bit of ties with Manitoba as well, because he represents the Jennifer Jones curling team.
Okay.
He's got a kind of wide range of people. He's got some curlers. He's got a couple of like personalities like Jerry D. A couple golfers, but his background is in the PGA, like with the PGA of Canada. He's been great. He's a super nice guy, genuine guy.
So do they help you get into tournaments more, or are they out fishing for sponsorship deals, that type of thing more so?
Yeah, I mean, if next year I do have good status, then you don't really need to worry about sponsorships as much because you're just kind of in all the events. Like he said, he has a buddy who runs the 3M Open in Minnesota, and because of where we live, like it's close, there might be a connection there. Right. But yeah, I mean, trying to get you sponsorship deals is probably number one. Whether it's, and just kind of some random stuff will come up, like, playing in a pro-am, getting paid to play in a pro-am, or invites as well. Yeah, there's just lots of odds and ends type stuff that they're trying to help you out with.
The stuff that you don't have time to deal with.
Yeah, I guess.
Infomercials.
No Subway commercials.
Oh. We wanted to redo a version of the Subway commercial as a TikTok, but been trying to map out how that would look and with hitting
talk about a hole in one.
Yeah.
Like
it'll be done next summer, but we run out of time.
Pizza.
Yeah, Spence Bros Pizza.
Aaron, you mentioned you've been working with DI. Everybody knows that. I think you're still working with him, correct?
Yeah.
So what outside of the putting and stuff, what else you guys been working on this year? And any revelations that came from working with DI this year, or is it just same old consistent, keep fighting mentality?
Yeah, I mean, so I've gotten into some weird spots a little bit in my swing, and I think it's caused by trying to swing the club faster in the off season. Just speed training is kind of, I get my hands high and across the line because that's how I can swing it faster. But then it gets me in a bit of a weird position on the way down where I get a little steeper. So we're kind of in the process of trying to clean that up in the backswing and just start down on a better, more on plane position. I haven't hit the ball as consistently this year. I'll play good for a round and a half or 3 rounds or whatever, and just have like a couple foul balls off the tee, or just hit a weird one here and there, make a double or a triple, and just like be good for the rest of the tournament, and just weird shit like that where I'm just haven't been consistent enough. So I'm just trying to clean up a little bit of my just like swing fundamentals, really. I mean, it's boring, but because the short game has been good. That hasn't been the problem. So just need to be a little better off the tee and free me up coming to the greens a little bit better, and just making my swing a little more consistent and on plane, basically.
What's the process for that look like? Is it just reps?
Yeah, it'll be hit 3 balls and over exaggerate the shit out of it. Feel like you're way on one side, but when you look in the mirror, it's like barely different. And then try and hit a few normal ones, and then change clubs and do it again, and just try and ingrain that in and get it closer to where you're trying to be. Like, you always see like Alex Noren is a good guy. If you see all the videos that he's doing where he's doing really weird shit and getting like way exaggerated because he's trying to feel something.
Right.
Where he actually gets, I actually am trying to feel more opposite because I get across the line. So I'm trying to like kind of get that right elbow.
Shallow it out.
Yeah, exactly. Shallow it out.
Just, I guess on, you talked about the speed train there, and that is actually something that we wanted to ask you about because you mentioned it last time you were on the show. So do you use any specific like training equipment or devices? And like what kind of workouts would you do to help improve the swing speed?
So I have done the speed sticks, which are like the yellow, green, blue, or red, or whatever the sticks
are. Weights?
They're different weights, yeah. So one will be heavier than a driver, and one will be lighter, and it's like over speed or whatever. And then so now I've actually started a new one. It's called the Stack. So it's what Matt Fitzpatrick has used and been quoted using, and he's actually like really long now. He's like 80s plus. Yeah. And so DI was giving me shit and calling me a poor man's Matt Fitzpatrick. So because we actually, like, if you looked at his numbers from like 4 years ago, we would actually have kind of comparable games, like good short game, maybe a little bit short off the tee. And if I can get a little bit longer and just free up the rest of the game, like that's kind of the roadmap, I think. And just with where golf is going, like you need to hit it pretty long. Like this Tom Kim, it'll be interesting to see if he can keep it up, what he's been doing, because he's like pretty short, right? Like he's like 160, 161 ball speed. The Stack is just like, it's like an algorithm where it's all done in an app. Okay, the last time you did it, you were swinging it at these speeds with these weights. So the next time you do it, they're gonna compute, your last session and change up your weights to go heavier or lighter. And then you just do it every like 2 or 3 days. It takes like 15, 20 minutes. The guy who designed it, he's like a bioengineer dude who used to be a track athlete. So it's kind of a weird concept, but I don't know, it all makes sense, and it's all math based. And
what does it look like then? Is it one of like those Bowflex weights where you lift them up and you can adjust the weights? But I've still yet to figure out how they change those weights without. That blows my mind.
It looks like a golf club. Like it's got like a golf grip and golf shaft on it instead of a iron head on the end. It's this little cap that spins off, and then it comes with 5 different weights, and you just plop on the different weights and spin it.
I see.
It's super easy. You could change the weight in 30 seconds. And then I did it the other day. Okay, it said 195 grams, 4 swings, whatever. Next one, 100 grams, and it's just like fluctuating the weight, and I think the overspeed is part of it.
So this actually has like a training, like a program for you to follow instead of just like different weights that you randomly swing however you want.
Yeah. And you're supposed to do it, I think, every 3 days, and it'll change your weights in like your next workout based off your previous session.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's too smart for me. I just do what I'm told. So
And so do you mix in any, like obviously you're working out on a fairly consistent basis, or what do you work on for speed training and stuff? Like different types of exercise, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So I try and do that a few times a week as well. So a lot of that is like a squat paired with like a long jump.
Okay.
So something with weights right into something that's explosive.
Right.
So there'll be 3 sets, like 6 different workouts, all paired together, and they're all one heavy and then one that's explosive. Again, I just do what I'm given and told. So Kate McKenzie is the trainer that I work with out of Winnipeg, and she's out in Niagara now. She's like TPI certified and all that. And she just gives me a workout for a few weeks, and I do it and revisit in a few weeks again.
That's got to be tough while you're traveling so much to connect with coaches or trainers. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean,
FaceTimes and stuff definitely help.
Yeah, FaceTime and like sending DI videos, and with her, I'm just given the program and I just do it a few times a week. They have a mobile gym that they bring around. Actually, that's pretty sweet as well.
Oh, really?
So we have access to pretty good facilities.
So it's in a trailer too?
Yeah, it's unreal. It's would look like one of the equipment ones, and it's like a big semi, and it has like pop outs on it. And there's like a squat rack and bench and kettlebells, like free weights, and then on the other side of it, they have 3 physio tables where there's always the physio guys are in there. So it's not big, but I mean they can get 8 guys in there at once, kind of a few working out, a few on the tables. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's sick.
They have all of they have everything you need. There's no excuses really. They give you I don't know. They provide everything that you need to play well. So there's no excuses.
What do we got here? Okay, so I think we don't want to take too much of your time here, Aaron, but we do have some more questions. Or do you got anything you want to throw in your drums right now? We're going to get into the rapid fire and then some questions from people in the chat and people on Instagram, and then a little bit of rapid fire, and then we can let you start prep for Spain.
I guess kind of my last one would be, what do you set for yourself for goals going into a new season every year? Like, is it, I want to make so many cuts, so many top 10s?
I mean, with the stage that I was at the start of this year, if you told me that I would have a chance to keep a full card, I probably would have been pretty happy. Like at the start of the year, I thought I was going to be playing more challenge tour events than I was going to be playing European tour events. So realistically, this year has been a huge success.
Right.
If I can play well next week, it'll be a very big success and open up, more opportunities for next year. And then maybe you look at, okay, I'm going to have a good schedule. Let's try and play in the tour championship or something like that. That's probably the one goal at the end. But I don't know. I'm pretty boring where I have like a notebook and I plan my week every week of what I'm going to do. I have a gym practice and a golf section, and I just write down my plan for the week, whether it's speed training or weights or what I want to do for my drills or practice rounds. And I just follow that book and do what I want to do for that week. So it's very process oriented. So if I can just kind of stick to that plan, hopefully at the end of the year, whatever the big goal was will happen. Maybe it won't, but I just operate like on a week to week basis, basically.
Yeah, it's probably smart, hey? Not get too far ahead of yourself, just stay in the moment and get the best results you can. Obviously it paid off this year. So
yeah, that's all you can really do. I mean, you can do all the right things and sometimes it'll go well and sometimes it won't. It's just kind of how it is. But if you can just kind of stick to the process and I think in the end of the year, it should kind of work itself out.
I'm interested to hear, Aaron. So you have your plan set up for your workouts and stuff. Do you track them all, like your exercises that you do, the weights you use? Do you track all of it pretty well and keep a close eye on it?
Yeah, it's all in an app. So it would have how many reps I did and how many weights I did. And then when I do TrackMan combines and stuff, it'll record your score. So today I did a wedge game and a T-ball game, and I always try and get over 88. And so I got an 85 and an 86 today, and it'll just put that in your system.
What's T-ball?
So the T-ball game, it's DI set it up for me. It's 7 balls. You'll have 3 drivers and then random yardages between like 240 and 260 and 250 and 270. So it'll just spit out. It'll say 252 and you set it up on a target line. And if you carry it 245 and it was a little left, it'll give you like an 80.
Oh yeah.
And then if you hit the driver within like a certain corridor, if you hit it over like 280 yards and it's within a certain window, it'll give you a certain score kind of thing.
Okay. So it's just like a fancy target practice.
Yeah, and then the wedge game, it'll just spit out random numbers between 60 and 110 yards. And you just, okay, I have 101 yards. I'm going to try and carry it 101. And whatever you carried, it'll give you a score, basically.
Interesting. It's like a Top Golf, except
yeah, same idea.
Yeah, like that.
Except no beers and no hidden mustards off the second deck.
Or hitting off pillows.
It happened.
Unnamed.
Mustards and pillows from the second
was mustard
deck.
me?
I think they were both. Well, maybe the mustard was you, yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, before we get into the questions from the pals on Instagram and in the chat, there was somebody who asked. So this is kind of funny, actually. So we put that Instagram story out there last week, and I thought that I would be able to easily revisit it to get the questions, but it seemed to have vanished into thin air. So we lost a few of them. But I do remember one of the questions. I don't know who it's from, but they asked, like, for the Live Tour, is the tensions between like the players on the PGA and the Live Tour, are those real, or are they just like blown up hype wise by the media?
I think it's probably a little bit blown up. Like it's been weird because with our tour, because of the court case that they had in the summer, they're actually allowed to play in our events. So like at the Dunhill in Wentworth, there was like 20 guys. I wasn't at Wentworth, but at the Dunhill there was a lot. And I think from like a player's perspective, most of the guys like don't really care that they've gone and played. Like that's fine. Like you're making a lot of money. I understand. But I think when guys get pissed off is when they try and have it both ways and that they come back and play in our events. Then they're
essentially double dipping. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you kind of knew that was supposed to be the case beforehand, and they're scrambling to get world ranking points right before they get cut off. Like the Taylor Gooch, like some of the guys who played in some of our events who have like never otherwise played European Tour events, like that was a pretty tough look, I thought. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's actually real tension. Like personally, like I said, I don't care, but just like, don't try and have it both ways is kind of
right.
Most guys' opinion. Like we're actually supposed to we're having a vote, I think, at the end of this year. And I was told from somebody on the players committee that if we get more than 70% of our players vote that we don't want them to play, that they can actually overrule the court case. So I think they would get that number.
Really?
Yeah, I think they just need to have it all drawn up with lawyers and do it all the paperwork and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens.
Okay, we got a really tough question for you here. Well, not really. It'll be, like I said, it'll be to the amount of people who watch this, it might not be a huge thing, but I'm interested to see your answer because a few of us on this podcast have actually been not advocates of Live, but we're fairly neutral on it. You know, we're not like Live haters or anything like that. We understand that something has to change in the PGA. But anyways, here's the question for you. Pretend that Greg Norman himself gave you a call tomorrow and offered you a contract on the Live Tour. And without answering like a hypothetical yes or no, would you join? I'm curious to see like what aspect of the Live Tour, besides the huge payouts, would be most would get you most excited or make you consider going the most? Like what part of Live that they've been doing would get you most excited to play on their tour?
Probably less tournaments and more of an off season. Like with us, like our season ends and there's a tournament the next week for the new year.
Yeah,
like
that's insane.
There's literally not a day off. If you like, you can schedule it in, but there's like no real off season. So I think the PGA Tour is trying to do that. I don't know if we'll follow suit or not, but I think it would be nice to just play less tournaments and kind of know your schedule. Obviously the cash is a huge benefit for most people. I like how they can wear shorts too. I complained about that earlier, having to wear yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like they're making it pretty global too, right? Like they're going to Australia next year. I think they're actually going to Valderrama next year, where the European Tour just played this week. So I don't think we're going back there, which I'm upset about because I actually haven't played that course.
So that's Spain?
They overtook it.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to have that event next year. And the place that I talk about in South Africa, there's rumors that they might be going there. And there's rumors that the Dunhill might not happen next year because Johan Rupert, the guy from South Africa who puts on the Dunhill, who owns the place on the game park, might be putting on a live event there. I mean, it's all just rumors, but some of the things you hear and info that people have seems to come true sometimes. So
funny how that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of rambling there. I think the less tournaments and just knowing the schedule and having an off season would be really nice.
I imagine like the comfort level of not needing to make cuts to make your money too. Like that's going to be a big thing for some of the guys at the start before they had the huge names, right? Like the guys that went over there initially, like that had to be a huge thing just to guaranteed money.
Yeah. I mean, I think the PGA Tour is trying to do that as well. And I don't think the European Tour has enough cash to do that. But I mean, it is kind of part of the game, I guess. And I mean, guys do, usually pretty well off the course as well. So I kind of don't try and view it that way as like at the start of the year, you get whatever sponsor dollars and it kind of covers X amount or your year or whatever. So it's kind of all built in, I suppose. So it's,
right.
I don't know. Like I guess I was at the start thinking, if you miss this cut or if you make this cut, it's this versus this. And I think that if you play, you probably don't worry about that as much. Yeah. But yeah, the guaranteed money is nice because I mean you're still out there, and I guess if Rory goes to a European Tour event and misses the cut, like he brought a lot of value to that event and he put in work and had expenses for the week and obviously well compensated off the golf course for that. But yeah, there's still that argument to be made. I don't know.
How big is the difference in at the tournaments when those guys show up when Rory's around or some of the other big names?
Yeah, he's like probably the current Tiger, I guess. Probably not quite, but I mean, like I remember playing the Irish Open like 2 years ago when COVID was a thing and there was only 5,000 people allowed a day. And he was playing and we were just at the same times, but off opposite tees. And like literally 5,000 people were watching his group. Like there was nobody else. So yeah, some of those guys are pretty big draws. And I think the tour is still, they're kind of desperate for that star power, whether I personally think they should market it kind of the other way and promote the guys who do regularly play the tour and are becoming stars. Opposed to hanging on to the not going to name, but like somebody who's in their 40s and like was a Ryder Cup player, like they're so desperate to try and do that. Whereas if they focused on Adrian Meronk or Ryan Fox, like guys who most people don't know, but are stars in the making and have played well this year, I think that's kind of the route they should go. But I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think we talk about that all the time. Like you have to pick the proper people to put your focus towards. Like you said, nobody cares about Ian Poulter anymore. He's gone to live, but nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah, it's not, but it's crazy. Like guys like that, they still get paid to play European Tour events. Like I heard in Czech this year, he got $500,000 just to play, and that was like almost what the purse was. Like there's lots of stuff that still happens like that, and they're just so desperate for anyone with like name value. It's just it's
yeah.
But I guess if you're a true golf fan, you know who they are.
Yeah.
Right? Like the young guys. But if you're just a fan who lives in the area and you see like, Ian Poulter's playing, it might bring you out more so than say one of the young guys up and coming. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
It's shitty, but
sure, but that's why you build up those other people through your socials or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay, Reggie, drums. Do you guys want to? We did a couple episodes ago, whatever it was, we did like a best of the summer episode where we kind of answered a few questions. I don't know if you saw it on the Instagram or not, but we want to get your input on these. So Drums, Rigo, do you guys want to hammer them with our 6 questions here? Rapid fire-esque. And I'm going to try to get some of these other questions organized here in the meantime.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, first off, what was your beverage of the summer?
Probably the one I'm drinking, this Wicked Easy Sam Adams beer.
Pretty
You
good.
gotta say it with the Boston accent.
I'll have to test one out. Can you buy them in Manitoba?
Yeah. Yeah. I had it at St. Charles one day. It was very good.
What do you think? He's illegally importing beer into his house?
Who knows? He's got some pretty good perks, man. Put some in his golf bag and bring him home. I don't know.
What does it taste like?
It's like a kind of a Hefeweizen, but kind of an IPA. I don't really know how to describe it. It's
What was that first word?
like a Hefeweizen, like a wheat beer.
Oh, okay. We need to learn our terms in case Black Wheat or Trans Canada wants to sponsor the show. So Hefeweizen, got it.
You know, a Blue Moon would be a Hefeweizen.
Oh yeah.
That's
Those are good.
Comparison. Yeah.
What's your song of the summer?
I'm drawing a serious blank there. What's the Elton John one that they remixed with Dua Lipa?
Oh, yeah.
With Cold Heart?
Yeah.
Might be a lame answer, but that was high up on the playlist.
Yeah, it is a
Hey,
good tune.
you listen to that song, you're not going to be in a bad mood after.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then if you take some substances and watch the video, it's wild.
Take some substances.
Course of the summer, if you have a good answer for non-tour course. If not, then your favorite one you played tour.
I played Clear Lake for the first time this year.
Ever?
First time ever.
Wow.
It was fun. It was a chilly morning. It was in like September, and yeah, I loved it. I had a blast out there. The greens are interesting.
Yes.
Some of the greens, like 9 and 18, I was like, I probably pitched like 3 yards short of the pin, and I ended up in the rough off the green, basically. But no, it was fun. I had never played it before and had good reviews from everyone. I'm sure that's one of your guys' favorites, right? Tamarac's there, and I just never played it, and it's really fun to play.
Yeah.
How'd you play? Cool resort course.
Yeah. Well, I did not play good. I shot 71, and that felt like a lot. Like if there was ever a course that I would say I'm gonna go like have a career low round, that might be the place, because it's like how many holes you can knock driver on the green, or like 3
or less, yeah.
And then
there's probably at least 5, right? 4.
And then the par 5s are all reachable. Like some of them were like wedge in.
Yeah, 1, 8, 16 for sure would be drivable.
Yes. Yeah, 16 is super. Yeah. No, I would love to go back and give it another go, because it was a poor outing the first time.
Poor showing.
We did have a question, actually. One of the questions was from Cal Vandershoot. He said, what did you think of the Clear Lake green? So he must have seen that you were out there, or you talked to him or something. So what did you think of the greens? And then as a follow-up question for that, you kind of talked about the greens and the playing style and stuff, but like many of the weekend players, guys like us, think of those greens as like a real challenge. Like 9 is really tough. 18 is really tough. Like there's some work to be done there for if you're just a weekend golfer. Like they're tough. But how do those compare to like on tour?
In terms of like the condition of them or
difficulty?
We wouldn't play greens that sometimes are that slopey, like, or
that's
that
what I thought too.
They'd be really selective with the pin. So like the general
sure.
rule is when you're doing like the aim point, I can envision like a 2 or 3% slope. If you can envision what that is, they would never put the pin on more than like a 2. And I don't know if there's spots that are flat enough on some of those greens. Like I'm sure I don't remember it that well, but I think is it 18, like maybe back left is flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then 9, when we played it, it was on a spot where if you missed it, it was going to go like 5 feet past or whatever. So I take that back. They would just have to be very selective with the pins. So like whenever we play a tour event, they have no problem tucking it 3 from the edge behind a bunker right beside a water hazard or something, but it will be on a pretty flat spot. So it's hard to get it close to the hole, but when you're short putts, you're not going to have anything stupid happening. Like you're not going to have to play a 3-footer 2 cups outside the hole. Like,
which makes sense.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some funky. The par 5 on the front 9 is coming to mind, like 4 or something.
Yeah, that's straight sloped if it's kind of not at the very back.
That you just have to be careful with the pin selection, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, I never even thought of that as just a fan of the game, and I always assume that the tours, like the professional tours, would have kind of the hardest greens and the hardest pins and stuff. But what's hard, like you said, if it's just over the bunker, like you can't get close to that pin, so that is hard. These are just a different way of measuring the difficulty, I guess. Because some of those pins are clearly
they're goofy. They're goofy.
They are goofy. Like on 9, like
9's fucking goofy.
And also the speeds on what AC plays would be a lot faster than what Clear Lake is. So if you played at the speeds that the greens roll out on the tour on those greens, like I mean, you're on the fucking highway when you're putting on number 9. Like you're putting down onto the road.
More than like a 10 on the stimp. Otherwise, there's a few that would just be unplayable.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sorry, boys, to cut in there, but you can keep her going.
That's all good. What was favorite tournament of the summer?
Dunhill was cool, even though I didn't play well. That was like those golf courses and that tournament, that format, like the vibe around walking around the town of St. Andrews is so cool. And like walking over the bridge, like just thinking of everyone who's done that and like the history of it was really cool. Dunhill for sure.
Tiger Woods not that long ago.
Yeah, a few months before.
Reggie or Drums, what's next?
What was your favorite purchase of the summer? Maybe not necessarily golf related.
So I have super short-term memory, and I always resort back to what I just did. So I'll just say, when I was at St. Andrews, I got a little like baby blanket because we're having our first kid in February.
Absolutely.
So
congrats, man.
Non-golf related, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Yeah, we're excited. It's starting to seem real. She's got a pretty good bump going now. So
you said February, sorry?
Yeah, in February. Like at the start when she's pregnant, it just doesn't, I don't know, seem like it's happening because like I don't feel different. She doesn't look any different. And then now it's starting to seem real.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, as a guy, you have absolutely nothing to do until it actually appears in human form. Yeah, it's weird.
I made a joke to AC that he's going to have to take Chelsea somewhere overseas so the kid can qualify as an Olympic athlete as a dual citizen.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's a good move, actually. That's a really good strategy, especially for hockey coming from Canada.
Different passport, have it born somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to love that. What was your most memorable shot of the summer?
Oh, hole in one in Switzerland. It was one hop and dunk, and they got it on camera too. Obviously, you guys were heckling my comment. That was pretty cool that it was on camera.
That was amazing.
Wasn't the best. I don't know how they didn't edit that out. By the way, you think like that was the first time here's me dropping an F-bomb? They would probably.
Where's the fucking car? Unreal.
Maybe whoever was in production team there, they didn't, because it wasn't really clear as day that you said it, right? Like, I don't know. You had to know how you talk and stuff like that to really pick it up, but still funny, man. That was probably the highlight of my summer too, in terms of DP and PGA stuff, other than our guy Tom Kim with some highlights, but that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, that was cool. I've actually had quite a few, but that was my first one like in a tournament, like on tour. I
on
got
TV
challenge tour. Yeah, it was cool.
How many have you had?
You got?
I now have 9.
Jesus Christ.
The one in Switzerland was 9. So next one's double digits.
That's
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I just saw like a major PGA tour or live, whatever it was, that just got his first hole in one. I forget who it was. Bryson?
Did you see that? Sorry, this is off topic. Well, it's on topic, but did you see that Hardy? Is it Nick Hardy? He has like something like 35 hole-in-ones or something.
That sounds like bullshit.
Outrageous, honestly. You guys talk about this. I'll look it up quick here.
No, that sounds like bull.
No.
Did you guys read that the article about the guy cheating at Q school?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what this sounds like. That guy said he had like 78 hole-in-ones.
And on par 4s when they're around corners and nobody was looking.
Really?
Just got to. Have you not read that article?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, God, you have to.
It's wild. Basically, this guy would just like, if there's like a blind shot, he would kind of get up there first, and he had made it, and he had already the ball in his hand, and it was in, and he just pulled it out of the hole, and he's got hole-in-ones on par 4s that go around corners where no one actually saw it go in the hole, and he was playing in a Q school, and he chipped in on the last hole to move the cut line and bump out like 3 guys. And he had like 3 outrageous cheating stories within the one round. And they went back and found one of his balls and basically caught him dead to rights. And
he was like, "Yeah, no, I lost it, but that was in practice rounds."
They went out and found it,
they're
right?
like, "What?" Yeah,
they went out and found it. You have to read it; it's so
just
good.
a donkey.
I
Yeah.
feel like golf would be a really not easy, but like if there's one sport that you could maybe like advance far enough to maybe make money, you could probably cheat at golf. If you're that much of a piece of shit, you probably could cheat your way. Like you couldn't in hockey or like in another sport.
I think you're getting called out before you get that kind of opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. You'd have to have some sort of skill level, obviously, to do it, but I think you could pull it off.
If like people are keeping your score, though, it's not like you can just like shave strokes. Like you'd have to be like foot wedging them and stuff. I don't know what you'd be doing.
Yeah, true. That's true. Because you got to make a ton of birdies to make money in golf. So maybe just as a good weekend golfer, you could do it. But okay, we should start wrapping things up here. We'll do a couple questions here from the pals on Instagram and in the chat here. So Ches, one of our good buddies, Ches, he's always in the chat here. He asked a question. Could a good player be made into a tour player? And if not, could he be a caddy? Which also is similar to the next question, which is by Sean Rickman. He said, what's the real difference between a weekend scratch and a tour player? How big of a jump it is it? So maybe talk about Chez's question first. Like, could a good player be made into a tour player? Is that a thing that happens?
Yeah, I think that's probably doable. I mean, I don't know what your definition of good is. Like you got to be, shooting under par at your home club basically every time. And like you hear of stories like Robert Rock, he actually just retired from the European Tour, and he was a club pro, and he would always play in all the regional club events, and he was really good. And every year in England, he would get a few starts, and he actually turned that into a European Tour career. Yeah, that's the second one. What was the second one about? Like a good weekend player?
Yeah. What's the real difference between a weekend scratch and a tour player?
That gap would be pretty big. Like if I was to go out and like not pumping my own tires, but like I would have to give like a weekend golfer like a lot of shots if we were to play one round together on like a tournament style golf course. Mm-hmm. Like you can kind of get away with it at some of the places in Manitoba if it's 6,500 yards and it's corky.
Right.
But we're going out somewhere where it's like 7,300 yards and 12 stimp greens and like tournament pins. Like that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And how do you learn that? Just through experience, probably, or like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's skill level too.
Yeah, both. I mean, you gotta have the length. You got to be able to clean up the short putts.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a big thing from like 4 to 7 feet. That's a huge separator. When your buddies are scooping them on the weekend.
Right.
But yeah, I think when you would put someone on like a proper test of a golf course, that's where you would see it exposed. But with the first one with the good player, that's a good question. I think you could. I think it has been done, and a lot of it is being able to like clutch up and play well at the right time, right? Like I could go play a fun round at St. Charles and shoot 80 on a fun day, and like I don't know, it matters, but it doesn't matter. But when you go to Q school, the final round, like, and you got everything on the line, you got to play well at the right times. Like certain people have that, and certain people don't have that.
Right. It depends where your weakness is too. So like if your weakness is on the mental side of things, you can't necessarily fix that or train yourself out of that.
Yeah. And then there's something to be said for like in golf, like what we were talking about before, it's the ultimate, like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like in hockey, there's tryouts and there's people who pick the players and stuff, right? Like, and there's a bit of like a political aspect to that. Like in golf, like
absolutely there is. Yeah.
If you go to Q school and you shoot the lowest score, like you're getting through. So if you're good enough, like the good guys will always kind of make it, I think.
Right.
But you also have to think about, like, I couldn't agree more with you there, because that happens all the time in other sports, especially hockey. Like as Canadians, as Manitobans, like we see that a lot where, you know, there's a really good hockey player who just never made it because maybe his parents didn't know the right people or whatever it may be. But I feel like with golf, like there has to be something, because there's a lot of guys who go through the same trials and tribulations throughout it, but they have a bit of money backing them because a lot of guys just run out of money, right?
Yep.
And so
it's expensive. Yeah.
There would be a little bit of politics involved in terms of you have to promote yourself and you have to get the right sponsors at a local level to be able to do that. But it is a little bit more in your control, I think, than a hockey player would be.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
So Bryce Hancherek from Uda Travel. Is it Uda, Rigo?
Yep.
Uda Travel. He asked the number one tip that could help a beginner. Like just something that somebody could try tomorrow or switch up or mentally or whatever it may be that could shave a few strokes off a beginner's game.
Course management stuff 101, playing in pro-ams all the time. Like if I just caddied for someone, like not changing anything, I could save them a few. Avoid like penalty strokes off the tee. So hazards, out of bounds, like aim down the other side, just keep it in play. And then amateurs never take enough club coming into greens.
Yes.
Especially on front pins. Back pins, they'll seem to, maybe if it's not enough, it kind of ends up on the front and they can two-putt.
Right. Yeah.
And then around the greens, trying to be too cute with the first one and not getting it on the green. Like if you're a 10 handicapper or 12, whatever, like if you literally just got your first chip on the green, you'd be better off in the long run, like avoiding the doubles. Just course management stuff like that is the biggest thing that I see.
That's a good answer. And, you know, a lot of guys might go to try this with your swing or try this with, but I agree completely for the course management thing. Something that we've talked about on the pod is the decade approach, but that's a whole nother.
That's basically what I was saying, like off the tee, right? Like your fairway, if there's OB down the right, your fairway is the left edge of the fairway. That's your center, right? So
right.
your shot, your right one is maybe still in play.
What else we got here? I have a personal question here for you, not like personal wise, but like my question to you. What advice would you give to a young guy who, whether he's in high school or he's in the college ranks or grinding it out on a tour, like what advice would you give that guy or girl? Because, a guy from Manitoba playing on a professional golf tour isn't a real common thing. And so I'm just curious of like what you did and what you could pass along to kind of help somebody else get to that level. Cause it's, like I said, it's not an easy thing to do. And what got you there?
Yeah. I mean, where do I start with that one? It's hard, like, especially coming where we come from, right? Like it's been negative temperatures this week. And
you never grew up playing in like Florida or anything, right? Like you were here.
Yeah, I was always here. I mean, when when I got down to school, like we would play pretty much year round in university down in the States. So I think that is a pretty good option. Like if you're a decent junior or high school kid, like if you can get yourself to a school in the US where you can actually play, it doesn't matter what school you're at. If you can play 10, 11 months a year, that's pretty good. You're just getting more reps throughout the year.
Yeah.
And with the way golf is going, you're going to want to hit the ball really far. So try and be big and strong and smash it. You can learn how to hit it a little straighter after. And develop a good short game and just like have fun with buddies by playing up and down games around the greens. And you got to work hard. I mean, like these are the boring answers, but like you truly do. Like every year there is more good college kids turning pro trying to come and get my job, right? Like there's only so many jobs available. And if you're not working hard, if you are not like extremely, extremely talented, like you're going to be passed, right? So you just got to work your ass off. And you got to have like breaks along the way too, right? Like with what I said about playing well at the right time, whether that's a tournament to get noticed, to go to a college, or then at a college event to maybe spark interest from a sponsor to maybe turn professional after. Like you need breaks, and it's a little bit of everything, I suppose, but that's kind of ramming a bunch of things into one overall answer, I guess.
You have to be clutch, right? You have to, but I mean, how do you learn that? Like, I guess it's just from doing it over and over again. And because you're absolutely right. You do need the breaks, but you also have to show up at the right moments, I think.
Yeah. And I think that for me, that kind of like reverts back to the process and doing my weekly routine and going through everything, so that when I do my drill, my short putting drill, that sometimes in the tournament, there's actually like, it seems easier because I've put in more work practicing and put so much pressure on myself in a practice situation that the tournament almost can become easier, that the hard work is done behind the scenes when no one is watching. Yeah, like I actually saw a thing on that with Reggie Miller the other day, and he said like the games felt easy to him because he worked so much harder in the summer practicing. So I really like that idea, and I'm trying to implement that a little bit more for myself, because I'm just straight up not as talented as a lot of these guys playing out there. So I have to work 2 to 3 times as hard to stay at this level and beat these guys, right? Like, you just got to work your ass off.
Yeah, and absolutely. That's what I wanted to ask you the question for, is because absolutely nothing against you skill wise, because clearly you have to have a very high level of skill to be playing at the level you are. But I just feel like I wouldn't have asked that question to somebody who has just like the natural gift, and like, you know what I mean? Because I know just by talking to Rigo and DI and whoever else, like you put in the time to get there. So that's why I wanted to ask you about it and what the big difference is there. So, and I feel like that's a more respectable path for a lot of guys. Right?
That's something to pride yourself on. Definitely.
Absolutely. Here's a question from the chat from Trev. AC versus Reg. How many shots does Reg get?
Who gets to answer this one?
Man, I've been on mute for like 10 minutes.
Unknowingly?
Unknowingly, I've tried to pipe in like fucking 5 times, man. And I just thought you guys were just ignoring me this whole time.
We'll give you some airtime here. You answer this one then.
Yeah, go ahead. Rigo.
That's so good, man. I was like, holy, what am I? Like, I just can't talk on here anymore. Like, just no acknowledgement or anything. I actually had some good stuff to say, too. Like, you'll have to go back and look at the edit tomorrow and just, like, I must have just been getting frustrated, too, because I was like, okay, I'll just, whatever. It's all good.
That's
no, I don't know how many shots.
Oh, fuck me, right?
20 you think?
Shots?
Well, like a lot of that depends on the course, too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like if you were playing GP, I would
what
say
do you shoot at like Clear Lake or like Gilbert Plains?
Well, I don't know. Probably like around par, usually every round at Gilbert.
Oh, okay. So you can play.
So like 4 strokes.
Yeah, so probably like
2 aside.
No, I would say probably 3 or 4 aside. Like on one of those, are we talking like we're talking like we were talking before? That's where this question came from. Like on one of the pro layouts on a 7,300-yard course.
Oh, on a pro course. I thought you meant like
If
Like
you're
I need at least 4 aside, probably, or 5.
Yeah,
I
I'd say
would
that's
say.
probably fair.
I
I
don't
would-
that, yeah, that's a
AC's
side
quiet.
probably more. I don't know. I said 20. I don't know if that's
No. I was gonna say 6 on like a tournament style. If you're shooting par, well, no, maybe a bit more. If you're shooting par, so you're probably shooting like 75 on like a legit course kind of thing.
right.
Yeah, and like if
Probably around par if I'm having a good day, but probably for the most part around that 75, like on an average day.
yeah, so like 5 or 6 maybe then, because
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna shoot 2 under or something. I don't know.
Yeah, be interesting. We'll have to
I-
play one day, then we can gauge it off that.
Yeah, I agree. We should go next summer sometime if AC's around and have a match. Hopefully we'll have them on here one more time before then. Sorry guys, there's lots of
There's
stuff
some
going
very
on.
funny stuff going on in this chat
There
right
is.
now. Ches and Gary are absolutely going at each other,
I don't know what's going
challenging
on.
each other to a round next year. It's pretty hard not to pay attention. It's kind of wild.
We might have a Kngdom event next year. We got AC out there, we got Ches, we got Gary. Everybody's there. We got a bunch of mini games going on within the game, and oh man, that'd just be a lot of fun. I think we should try to do it. AC, you were at an event. Sorry, we got to let Aaron go here right away. But you were at an event in Winnipeg. Who put that on? Forget where I saw it on Instagram.
Private Pension Partners, is that what you're thinking of?
Probably, yeah. It just was like a random event in Niagara.
Yeah, so Carl Lepp from P3 Partners, they're like a real estate development company within the city, and they're one of my sponsors. And part of the deal was I'll do like a golf day for them. And they actually made a really awesome event out of it. So he asked me, he wanted to have 5 to 10 like good players. And I think we ended up with 8 groups, and each group had a good player. Like, so Charlie Boyechko and Eric Johnson, pros and good amateurs from like the Golf Manitoba scene were all playing. And, they were actually playing for cash. And then I played with all the different groups, and he had a bunch of his clients out. And they ended up putting, I think, like $55,000 towards like the Toba Center, like a youth center within Assiniboine Park. So they made an awesome day out of it. So it was very easy for my end of the deal with the sponsorship to play a round of golf. Basically, was all I had to do. I played a few holes with each group and tried to make as many birdies as I can. One of those days when you play, 2 holes or 3 holes with each group and they think you're going to birdie every hole.
Right.
So if you par it, it's like disappointing for the group almost, right?
And you're barely warmed up even. Yeah.
It was a really good day. It was fun, and it was good for the guys who were playing. Some of the local pros played, and it was awesome all around.
Do you guys have any more questions for Aaron? Like we're running out of time here fast, but I feel like we could
keep them on all night. But yeah,
I gotta go to the bathroom as well. So TMI, I've been drinking too many Wheat City Brewing Co. beers here.
No, we should probably let the guy go. He's got a big travel day tomorrow, and he's been gracious enough to give us an hour and a half of his time. So you should probably just wrap it up, Joe. I guess just detailing the contest, keyword. What do we think about Toulon for a keyword? Tough to spell, but we'll spell it on here.
Yeah.
Or Samuel
or Toulon, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, let's do Toulon. Let's do that. Or do you get a suggestion for a word, AC?
I like Toulon.
Okay, let's do that. Toulon it is. Toulon is the 6th word in the private key for the grand prize. This is the 100th episode of the Kngdom. That's absolutely bananas. I have no idea how we made it 100, to be honest with you. Similar to AC, it's just like keep grinding, put your head down, and don't worry about the other shit going on. But you know what? It's been a lot of fun. The 100 episodes. If you look back, we started in COVID. Even when we had AC, I think my hair was out to about here. Everybody was just down in the dumps. So it's good to see everybody's bright, everybody's smiling, laughing. We're doing live stuff now.
We were both in different places at that time, different houses, different spots.
I had a kid.
Yeah.
You had a kid between 0 and 100, which is kind of cool. This is AC's third visit on the Kingdom. We can do more reminiscing another time, but the point is we got our 100th episode contest going on. AC is a big part of it. We're giving away a set of King Golf covers, the AC edition, which he designed himself and is on his bag. He's going to sign the covers, and some lucky fans are going to win them. You have to have all 12 words from 12 episodes on your private key and submit that. I'm thinking it'll be probably mid-December, right before Christmas, to kind of wrap up 2022. And that's that. Tonight's word is Toulon. And I don't know what else to say. AC, thanks a lot, man. Like, I don't know. We love watching you. We love everything that you're doing. And it gives some hope, I think, to guys from Manitoba who, Manitoba wouldn't be the number one golf destination for anybody, I don't think, but you managed to kind of slip through the cracks and make a pretty damn good career for yourself. So anytime you want to come on, we're beyond happy to have you on here. And that's my thank you. So I'll let you guys round her out and Drums say goodbye.
Yeah, I would say too, just quick, as a avid sports tracker, it's pretty much my number one hobby, number one pastime. You make it pretty damn enjoyable to look up the app there and check what you're at. It's usually my go-to thing pretty much every time you're playing, first thing in the morning on the way to work. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool to have ties to somebody out there, right? I mean, it's always makes it cooler. And then a down-to-earth guy that just pops on here and has a few beers with us on here also. Pretty cool. So, yeah, thanks again, man. Really appreciate you popping on here. The head cover stuff, it's so cool to see our stuff on TV too. When you're having a couple rounds put together, there are head covers on TV. I mean, that's out of this world to us. And,
we'll need a 2023 edition as well.
Yeah.
Start thinking of those, AC.
Yeah, no, and just for me, thank you guys. I mean, the head covers are awesome. I get a lot of compliments, and I think I've tried to pass on some business to you guys as well. Hopefully some of it has happened, and I think you guys do a very good job of your content is very creative, and it's actually fun to follow along with. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. It's fun to follow along.
Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, we had a few Euro or DP World Tour guys follow us, so we figured that was through your recommendation. So we really appreciate everything that you've done, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have you on here a few more times.
Absolutely. Thanks, boys.
Drums, round us out of here, buddy. 100.
Okay, buddy. As we said, there's nothing more to say, but a huge, big thanks to AC for coming and joining us for a 100th episode. We will get him out of here so we can go prepare for Spain. Good luck next week. Good luck next season. Congrats on the upcoming baby, the family expansion. Good luck on everything, man. Thanks again. We will chat with you guys later. I'm not sure. Are we doing this week, Wednesday? We'll figure it out.
We'll see. We'll be
Anyways, thanks again, AC. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in the chat. Love you, boys. Peace.
Love you, fellas.
See you, boys.